So what happens when you take test batches of Crème Anglaise not formulated to be turned into ice cream and you put them in an ice cream machine you borrowed from your neighbor? So for starters, I'm not going to judge either Anglaise if it doesn't perform well because I made it for other reasons and I'm repurposing it basically for fun so that I can learn and show you what happens when a formula has not been specifically formulated to become an ice cream, because a well-formulated ice cream base is not going to taste eggy or be too hard or soft or have too many ice crystals in it. This Anglaise had 4 ingredients: cream, milk, sugar, and egg yolk. That sounds a lot like any ice cream recipe, but the ratios were all off and it was absolutely grainy, and over time as it froze, of course, it became very icy. I'll focus on just 2 of the outcomes: the graininess and the ice crystals. This is where stabilizers come into play. Stabilizers, which are usually in powder form, emulsify, stabilize, and thicken. What does that mean? Emulsifiers like taking the things in the bowl that don't normally coalesce, like fat and water, and makes them get along. It gives them some order so that the fats in the water stay together and don't fall apart and separate. Stabilizers do the same thing. They keep the moisture where it needs to be, because if the moisture, let's say you let your ice cream melt for a minute and it starts to melt, that moisture is no longer frozen. So when you refreeze it, that water is now available, not encased in fat and all yummy and smooth, but it freezes like an ice crystal, and then that is how it feels in your mouth. And we all know that ice crystals do not feel or taste good in ice cream. Stabilizers also thicken. The more complicated the ice cream formula, the more you need to understand each ingredient function in the overall recipe. I have 5 ice cream books by popular authors, and I will tell you how each one stabilizes their ice cream, not only in the book, but also at their shops. David Leibovitz doesn't have a shop, but every single one of his bases is an egg custard. Dana Cree uses locust bean gum. Salt and Straw uses xanthan gum. Van Leeuwen uses egg yolks, and they consider themselves to be purists. And Ben & Jerry use carrageenan as a stabilizer. Stabilizers are insurance policies against moisture migration. People tend to think that they're a bad thing, but the goal of a stabilizer is to keep the water from moving around as it goes from the store to your home or from the manufacturer to the store. And that means not allowing things to get warm and then refreeze. And if that happens, the stabilizer steps in, it locks in all the water, and it holds things together longer so that by the time you eat your ice cream, it's smooth still, it's not grainy, and it's yummy. Chef Rubber carries an ice cream stabilizer, and it's actually a combination of locust bean gum, guar gum, and carrageenan. The ice cream was edible, but it was not delicious. So this week I'll be making 3 more bases using different techniques and getting into more detail about what all of the ingredients do to the final product.